Hey, welcome back to another episode of The Vault of Cult with your host Chris.
And Mark, you alright?
Yeah, I'm alright. Got all the listeners are alright out there today.
We'll be alright because we're back again.
We're back again. We've got another episode on the go. We hope you enjoy it. Keep coming back. Love the support. Thanks very much.
Always. Yeah.
Always. We're, get us on the socials, get in contact as usual.
Yeah, main way of getting us is on the Instagram at The Vault of Cult.
Yeah, and we're also, get us over on the emails. We're at thevaultofcult@gmail.com.
Yeah.
There we go. Vaultofcult@gmail.com.
So, as always, thoughts, feelings.
Feedback.
Do you vehemently disagree? Do you fully agree? Correct. But,
But guys, again, thanks for all the support, and do get in touch.
Yeah. So, well, let's get to it then. Yeah, so we're doing Gladiator.
We are.
In the year 2000.
2000.
Yeah.
Where everyone lived underwater.
Not much has changed, though.
No.
I love that. So we came to the year 3000. Not much has changed, but we live underwater. Pretty big change, lads.
Totally change your life.
Yeah, massive change of life, but okay.
Technically, we're all fish. According to Busted.
Yeah.
Gladiator, the Ridley Scott historical epic.
Yeah.
So, guys, let's get this show on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt, Gladiator from the year 2000.
Yes. It came out in the US and Canada on the 5th of May, 2000.
Oh, right, okay.
But it came out in May the 12th over here in the UK. But weirdly, that's all that I could find when it came out in America and when it came out in the UK as well. So I presume the rest of the world was at the same time.
Like a rollout, from that point on.
At the same time as us, I suppose. But it don't so much happen anymore as much. It used to be that, there used to be...
No, it's day and date, isn't it, a lot?
Yeah, usually it's pretty much going to be pretty much the same. Like, streaming's changed all that, hasn't it, though,
Mate, I remember having to wait bloody, 3 years to get something on video. What is eternity? Eternity.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, check out this new release. And you'd be like, hey, I watched that years ago. And oh, right, on video. Brilliant.
I think I read somewhere ages ago, Australia was the worst. They was the most delayed.
Australia, I think they're still waiting for fucking... This film.
Infinity War.
This film, they'll be like, it'll be good, this Gladiator, when I can buy it.
Thank fuck for streaming legally.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Poor Australia and New Zealand, they just get there thousands of miles at the bottom of the earth and they're like, what about us? What about us?
I want to see films.
Oh, shut up, and the fucking descendants of thieves and paedophiles.
Don't cancel it. Don't cancel it.
Don't cancel it. I'm joking.
So, Gladiator from the year 2000. Obviously produced by DreamWorks and Universal Pictures, which is an interesting...
Both of them, both of them. I read that it were like a sort of joint venture. DreamWorks handled all the US and the domestic side, and Universal did it for
rare,
the rest of the world.
It?
We've been doing this pod for a while, as you dear listeners will be aware, because they're just always there waiting for them. I've never encountered anything like that since we've been doing... because that struck me as awfully strange.
Very different studios as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. I would have thought, Universal would just be the parent of all of it, because, it's Universal.
Why didn't Universal just do it on their own? Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
But that's an interesting little thing. Directed by Ridley Scott.
Ridders
from the Northeast, known for Alien, the first Alien film.
Yeah.
Kind of regarded as a classic, playing Blade Runner. Directed Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't think a lot of people would know that, to be fair.
No. I discovered that for this pod. I didn't realise that he worked director.
Yeah,
I like Thelma and Louise, And
again, not to kind of go off topic at the beginning, but, he's a director that he's had his best films, I think.
Not to drag the man or anything.
No. Facts.
You know what I mean?
It's just facts.
Ridley, your best days are behind you.
Yes. With Alien, fucking
Oh, the aliens.
Prometheus.
Someone put that film in a bag and shoot it.
I kind of like it.
Oh, shut up, Chris. It's a loathsome little film.
Right, so music by a Hans Zimmer. So he's
Hans
popped
Zimmer,
up a few times, hasn't he? Dark Knight and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Really famous.
Everyone knows the Hans Zimmer film.
Chris Nolan's a big fan.
Yeah.
I think
I'm a big fan. Everyone's a big fan of the Hans Zimmer thing.
Yeah,
and I have to say, top of the shop, the score. I'm sure.
I agree.
Wow.
It fits it.
It fits it so well.
Yeah.
What a score.
Running time 155 minutes. So it's like 2.5 right.
hours,
So all right, I actually watched. I think probably for the first time. I had watched an extended cut. Or it was.
See, I always used to watch the extended.
And I'm pretty sure it's the first time I've watched because it was nearly 3 hours.
Yeah.
It adds a good 20 minutes onto the film, basically.
The video I had when I were a kid. Right, so here for a start, listeners, I had this on video and I absolutely hammered it. Hammered the video.
I did have the DVD when it came out.
Yeah, the DVD rather, and I did absolutely hammer the thing. But that had the extended cut on it, on the DVD.
I've never seen it. And I couldn't tell what was missing and what was added.
Well, yeah, but I couldn't really tell what was missing, but I did feel like there were scenes missing. And I was like, I've just like, oh, right, what I watched for this pod were the theatrical.
Oh, I'd say mine was the opposite.
And so I was like, this bit's missing here. This bit's missing.
Really? You're that familiar with it?
I'm not.
I haven't watched it for a long time.
I haven't watched it for a long time, I'll admit. But when I was younger, I did hammer it. But so I couldn't quite think what is missing. But I was like, bit's missing here. And then I was like, that'll be why.
Like I say, I've not watched it for a long, probably since the early 2000s, maybe 2001, 2002, so 20 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, seriously. But again, it says it was the extended version. I'm like, I didn't even, for one, in my fucking film knowledge, I wasn't aware there was an extended version, for one. And for two, it's nearly 3 hours, and I was like, ooh.
He likes an extended cut, though, does Ridley Scott.
This is true.
He's a very, here's all your
He likes to revisit.
Bits. He does like to revisit. And especially something like this, like his historical epics one, there is always a large amount of extended stuff. Think
bits
of,
and bobs,
think of Kingdom of Heaven, different film. Kingdom of Heaven.
Well, pretty much. Look at Blade Runner, one of the most famous. He directs, he cuts, fucking, he likes to tamper.
Yeah. He's a revisitor. So anyway,
box office.
What did it make? What are its financials? Well, it had a budget of 103 million. It wasn't intended to be that much. They had to keep putting the budget up.
I was going to say that seems a lot.
Yeah, they did have to.
Considering at that time they were making Lord of the Rings for what, like 200 million?
Yeah. I mean, what? In typical Mark's brilliant note-taking fashion, I read but haven't wrote down what it originally was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be about 80 million.
Prick.
But, once again, Mark's absolutely brilliant notation skills shine through.
Oh, no, I'm only messing with
one. But, yeah, it ended up costing 103 million.
That does seem a lot.
Chunky. But we'll discuss when we're talking about it as to why we think. And this is another film where I've said, and we've said this before about other films, everything's on screen. Like, you can see, like, production value is high.
Yeah, okay.
High in this film. So, like, I don't necessarily think it doesn't warrant its high budget.
They definitely wanted to...
Yeah, it's very much part of the directorial. It's the part of the directorial intent of this thing. Into
historical.
He wanted to make an historical epic. But what did it made? It made gross worldwide 457.6 million.
So double its money.
Like I've said so many times before, that's what's called in the business a shit ton of money.
That's the truck.
A shit ton of money, a dump truck worth of money. It made 187.7 million of that in US and Canada, and 269.9 rest of world.
Oh, right, okay.
Pretty even split, really. I mean, not good. not massively even, like, it's always going to be skewed internationally because news to the Americans, more people don't live in America. But
that's true.
You know,
surprisingly to them.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not. We have got American listeners.
Got American listeners.
Hiya. You're okay, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we do love you.
Racist.
Oh, shut up. They'll be fine.
We love you. Thanks for listening.
We do love you,
guys.
But yeah, pretty even split, and it was number one at the box office for 2 weeks in a row. And it
was a big film at the time. I remember it was a big film,
and it was still up there weeks later, like 3 weeks after it had come out. It was still only on the three. It was still on the third. Like, so it remained in the public consciousness for a very long time. It was a buzzy film. Very long time. Yeah.
So a plot overview.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's set around a Roman general.
Russell Crowe's character.
Yeah, Russell Crowe's character, Maximus Decimus Meridius.
That's him.
And he's a Roman general on the Germanic frontier during the Marcomannic Wars. By the way, listeners, if you weren't aware, and all of them will be aware, I'm a massive history buff. Massive history buff.
It's true.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much I love history and talking about history, and in particular Roman history, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm 165. Like, I love it. I immerse myself in it. So he's on the Germanic frontier during the wars of the time, and the Emperor Marcus Aurelius tries to make him not his successor, but he wants to make Rome a republic again, and so thus to disinherit Commodus, who is Joaquin Phoenix's part. We'll come on to what we think of each of them. But Joaquin Phoenix's character essentially betrays Maximus's character, or not betrays him, has him dealt with, and he frames him essentially for
the murder.
Marcus's murder, and he has his family killed in Spain.
Yeah, his wife and his child.
Basically, it's about vengeance. Is this film? Maximus gets captured by slavers and is forced to be a gladiator, and he has to work his way up being a gladiator until essentially he can get close enough to Commodus to get some revenge. Revenge is what he needs. He needs some revenge in his life.
And he's determined to get it. As you would
and
be.
He will have his vengeance.
He will.
As he says, to his face.
Wow. Powerful.
Yeah. So that's a general plot overview. Right. I'm just going to have a brief moment.
Please do.
Brief moment, because I've got to talk about some history now. Briefly, I've never been more nervous about doing something on a pod than this, because
this is all in context, which I think it's very interesting to know about the film.
Right? Is this film historically accurate? No. Not even a bit, really. If by accuracy you mean, does it depict the events that we know or believe to have happened? No, almost nothing. Maximus is a totally made-up character. There isn't a General Maximus,
like a famous guy like that.
There isn't, and the story beats of Commodus's reign, because that's what this is depicting. Through Maximus, it's depicting the Emperor Commodus's reign. None of it really, none of it really happened. But what I think this film is trying to do is to capture the descent into madness of Commodus and his reign.
The beginning of the end is what we know.
Because although the Roman Empire would go on for another, in the West at least, for another 3 centuries, a long time, this is where historians usually start to break down that things begin to fall apart. Like a very, very famous 18th century historian called Edward Gibbon, he wrote a huge 5-volume piece of history called The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, and he starts his
and these
story.
books are fucking massive as
they're
well.
absolutely enormous. Like, I don't have a copy.
It's like the definitive.
Yeah, well, it's the definitive kind of old one. I mean, it was written 200-300 years ago, but to us,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's, and he begins his scholarship with Commodus's reign of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire.
And that's the point in time when that was a traceable point to say this is when this was the beginning of the end.
Sort of. Things fall apart, and there's a massive crisis that lasts about a century long. It's known to historians as the crisis of the 3rd century, where there's pretenders popping up, civil wars, the Roman Empire starts breaking apart, and they have to go and reconquer parts of it, and it's a dreadful time to be a Roman, is the 3rd century, and it's a dreadful time to be a Roman emperor because nearly all of them end up getting murdered, usually by their own Praetorian Guard as well. Well, you go well, but I'm sure that they were very put out by the moment. But
they must have done something very naughty then to deserve it.
Yeah. So, is this film historically accurate? Does it have a historical slant to it? Yes, absolutely.
In terms of using characters and names and
it's
real
trying
people
to
from
put
history.
it's trying to put a theme towards it of the Roman Empire at the height of its power, and where can it go from there? Nowhere but down.
Yeah.
Nowhere but downhill, and that's what it's trying to pick. Like, I can nitpick it till the end of the mid-days, but it's one of those. Commodus does not murder his father, Marcus Aurelius. You know, he chokes him to death. He doesn't do that. He's literally about 100 miles away. He does not murder his father. Marcus Aurelius does not want Rome to become a republic again. Commodus is already emperor. Marcus had made him co-emperor with him, so there's never any suggestion that he wanted him to not be emperor after him, because he'd already made him joint emperor. You know what I mean? And just sort of finally on the historical point. It's, how can I put it? Yeah, I've lost my train of thought, but it's not accurate at all. There are no events here that really take place, and there are only a few characters who you can definably say were real people, and that's Commodus, and that's Marcus Aurelius, and sort of his sister Lucilla. But Lucilla's a bit of a conglomeration of all Commodus's sisters, because in reality he's got about 4 sisters. So she's a sort of bit of all of them, really.
Yeah.
So, is it historically accurate? No. Do not watch Gladiator thinking you'll learn much about Commodus's reign. But watch Gladiator because it's a good film. Oh, one final point. It makes it seem like Commodus's reign is only like a year or something like that, like not very long. Commodus is on the throne for 12 years.
Oh, right. So
it's a significant amount of time. And what I think this film does depict historically very well is Commodus's sort of descent into madness. So yeah, there you go. I just needed to have a brief monologue there.
It's good.
And I will be bringing up other historical things as we talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
So, Matt, do you want to give us a few fun facts that we can have fun with?
Yeah, exactly. It was the second highest grossing film of the year 2000. That could have gone with box office stats, but never mind. It only lost out to Mission Impossible 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah,
every sequel is called
sequel.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, only lost out to that, and I don't really like Mission Impossible particularly. I
don't like Tom Cruise, but I will keep watching them if they keep making them.
Yeah, well, they will until Tom Cruise, literally doing his own stunts, falls off the top of a building and dies.
Probably true.
Probably true. It won Best Picture at the 2001 Oscars, and I'm not at all surprised, realistically.
So what? That's not the only one it won,
No. It won Best Costume Design. Again, I think the costumes are brilliant. Again, they're not historically accurate at all. There's a hint of it. It won Best Sound and won Best Visual Effects.
Oh, I mean, I bet compared to today's films, I bet it's not got a lot of visual effects shots in it. It's only in the Colosseum and the...
Yeah, but well, this is very practical.
Do you know what I mean?
This is a very practical effect.
Yeah, because it used it in the right way. They
literally built half a Colosseum.
Yeah, I remember that.
For the thing. Yeah. Another reason why the budget
was so good. A lot of it's filmed in England, wasn't it?
There were parts of it filmed in England. The opening battles were filmed in Northern England somewhere. You know, the big battle.
I remember reading about it in the paper at the time. But
Ridley Scott's making a big most of it was filmed in Malta.
Malta.
Yeah. For a more of a Mediterranean vibe.
Yeah.
But that Germanic part, that was filmed in England.
Yeah, I remember it,
but someone who was nominated, but he didn't win, Joaquin Phoenix was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Oh, do you not think? We'll come on to the cast in a minute.
Okay.
But, famously, Oliver Reed died during the production.
Remember that?
Yeah. Oliver Reed plays like the mentor-y kind of character.
Really good.
He's really good,
isn't it?
Fantastic in this film. If you're going to die, go and die on this high.
Do you know what? He's loving it. He's fucking loving it.
You sold me.
Yeah.
Queer giraffes. And he's got him by the balls. I love it. Stunning.
Oliver Reed's topping it.
Icons, Oliver Reed. But
he's really good at it.
He passed away to literally one at production team just found him in his trailer, deaded. Poor Oliver.
A British acting legend. And a character.
Absolute character acting
pisshead.
Legend. Yeah, total pisshead. Like, he were good mates with Christopher Lee. And Christopher Lee were like, total pisshead. 100%. I mean, obviously.
There's a famous clip, isn't there? Like hammered on a talk show.
Absolutely shit-faced.
Is it like Wogan or something?
It wasn't 3 sheets to the wind, it was 12 sheets to the wind. They were gone down along the wind.
He had no idea where he was and what he was doing.
Terry Wogan just there like, are you alright? No. It's gone. Yeah, it is inspired by a book. I didn't know this. It is inspired by a book called Those Who Are About to Die.
Yeah.
Salute you.
Loose, I think.
Very loosely. I don't think it's a story beat. It's the word they use is inspired, which usually means someone read it and thought, let's make a film about the Romans. And everyone went, go on.
Let's do it. We're not
Let's do that then. It's thought to have revitalised interest in the historical epic as a genre. Now, I have a bit of an issue with that because they never really go away. And I'm saying this as a big historical epic fan, but almost always an historical epic is. It's not necessarily going to be a box office success, but they're usually quite a big box office draw. The problem with them is that the problem with them is that they're usually very, very, very expensive.
True.
That's
and you know what? I think what I can kind of bring to the table to contradict that point is just around the corner was Fellowship of the Ring.
Well, that's not historical, is it?
No, because it was all about fantasy for me, from what I remember. I don't remember off the top of my head now anything in the next 3 to 4 to 5 years after Gladiator that I can recall to go. There was, like these cycles of things, isn't there? I can't recall anything that was in the first up until 2005 to think, there was 2 or 3, like the Armageddon and Deep Impact thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
there's always 2 or 3 films that come after something that's had a lot of interest in there. It's had good box office numbers. It's kind of captured the public's interest, and then obviously people go, people want to see more of that. Let's give it to them.
Yeah, the trouble is, Ridley Scott kept trying. He did start. He's a
trier these days.
He is a trier. He would make Kingdom of Heaven, which I have a soft spot for that film. I've told you I've got a soft spot for that film.
Fucking fantastic director because what he does is he world builds.
He does world build.
But we'll get on to that.
Yeah. Right. There was extensive rewrites and a lot of input from the cast.
like ad-libbing and stuff like that?
No, not ad-libbing, literally sending the script back and saying, I'm not saying that line, I'm not doing it.
Oh.
Right, Russell Crowe kicked off about... I mean, it's an iconic scene now. It's a meme. The scene of... takes his helmet off and, my name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, husband to a murdered wife, father to a murdered son, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. Now, right, yeah, hammy, but at first Russell Crowe was like, I'm not saying that line, and Ridley Scott had to put his foot down and was like, say the line. Say the line. And, you know, he smashes it, but...
Initially.
A lot of that.
That's interesting.
Oliver Reed, Proximo's character. Oliver Reed's character, Proximo. At first, Oliver Reed said that he wanted his character to die, and they didn't want his character to die. But then, literally, fucking Oliver Reed actually did die. So they had to kill him off. It's like, fucking hell, Oliver, you are a character actor. You've literally died to kill off your character on the thing. Wow. Richard Harris and Oliver Reed were considered for each other's parts.
No, they did it right.
Now, yeah, I think they did it right.
Yeah.
But I can see Oliver Reed playing Richard Harris's part. I can't see Richard Harris playing Oliver Reed's part. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can sort of see it one way round, but I can't see it the other way round. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think because that character's such a good character in it, it's hard for me to.
And this film is sort of a loosely a remake of a 1964 historical epic called The Fall of the Roman Empire, which is it stars.
So it's a patchwork of ideas in the film, isn't it?
Which stars Alec Guinness as Richard Harris's part,
Obi-Wan,
and Christopher Plummer as Joaquin Phoenix's part as Commodus. He plays it very differently. He plays it quite snide and pompous.
Well, I think that was an acting style for these type of films on that time.
Yeah, from that time. And Sophia Loren, who plays Commodus's sister, Lucilla, who is now played by Connie Nielsen in this thing. So yeah, why don't we give our viewers waiting for bated breath for who's in it, guys? You've been waffling on who's in it.
Who's in it, right? So the total cast off the top of the shop is Russell Crowe plays Maximus. He's been in films like Master and Commander, which is a really good film.
I fucking love it. I absolutely love that.
Really good film.
One of best scores ever.
The soundtrack's really good.
The soundtrack's fucking fantastic.
But it's a really good film, really underrated. We've said this before. Films like American Gangster, he's done a Robin Hood. Let's move on.
Ridley Scott, Robin Hood. I was going to say, because I was looking at his filmography, I don't really know nearly anything before that. So would you say that
there's things in Australia?
But would you say that this film made him the worldwide star?
Yeah.
I would say so.
I think he was in a very well-regarded film called Romper Stomper about like skinheads and stuff.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I have heard of it.
And I think that's when people was like, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what was the film before that led into this, or him getting picked for this.
I'm not sure.
But obviously this made him a fucking star,
Yeah, I was just going to say, would it be fair for me to say that this is the thing that made him a star?
Oh yeah, 100%. Then obviously, like you say, fucking Joaquin Phoenix, he's the Joker, really good film.
Yeah. Again, I hadn't really seen him in anything before this. I mean, admittedly, I was at this point
Signs
the tender age of 10. Oh yeah, not a good film.
About aliens.
About aliens.
And The Village, that M. Night Shyamalan fucking...
M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong shit film.
I'm not seeing it swerve that, mate. I'm not a fan of him as a director. I've wanted Sixth Sense, he's nailed it then. He nailed it with Sixth Sense. And Unbreakable's alright.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right.
It's
moving on.
all right. Move on. Yeah, move on, Chris.
Connie Nielsen as Lucilla, like you're saying. She was in Justice League.
She was in Justice League. She
Which cut? The cut that we watched last week. The cut that's coming up in 6 months' time.
No one cares, guys. No one cares. Move on. Everyone's like, oh, which is better, the Snyder Cut or the... No one cares. They're both shit. They're both shit.
I like the Snyder Cut.
I'll grow up. It's shit.
Derek Jacobi, which is a really famous English actor, plays Senator Gracchus, and he's again, the first thing I noticed when we were watching this film was like, oh, Mark, it's him out of I, Claudius, isn't it?
He plays
so I like that link. He was in a BBC
it's
thing
it's
from
why
the
they
70s.
cast him. It's why they cast him. They were like, oh, you've been in Roman things
Yeah, he
before.
was
You know how to do. But admittedly, a Roman thing set like 130 years previously, but. Still.
But I like that link. I kind of like that.
I don't mind the link. I'm there for the link.
Obviously, we've mentioned the great Oliver Reed as Proximo. He was in Oliver.
He was in Oliver. Not Fagin, the other one, Bill Sykes.
Also, really well known. He's in a load of stuff, but obviously a little.
Honestly, when I was looking at his filmography, everyone else on there, I got the filmography.
I've seen, yeah.
Like I got the filmography about off Wikipedia. It's fine.
Of course, yeah,
it's fine. But everyone else's had their filmography on their page. You had to, for Oliver Reed, you had to go onto a separate page.
There you go.
Like the man was active since like the 50s.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. So.
Also, a little nod to something like Mark's really interesting. He was in Three Musketeers, The Four Musketeers, and then the trilogy capper, Return of the Musketeers.
I had him on video when I was a kid.
I can't recall watching them.
Yeah, they're very much from that 60s, 70s swashbuckling kind of era. I forgot the name of the plays. It doesn't matter. And
then his best mate in the film... is it how do you pronounce that? Jimon Honsao.
Yeah.
Jimon Honsao.
I really don't want to butcher his name.
I'm doing a good job of it.
Yeah.
But his mate, Juba.
Yeah, he plays a Numidian fellow gladiator slave.
And he's in a few things. He's in Guardians. He's in Aquaman.
He's very much into his superhero films at the minute.
Stargate.
He were in Stargate. I like Stargate.
Stargate, yeah. Which is a little earlier than this. Stargate was
Stargate. Stargate were before this.
And then the great actor Richard Harris as Marcus Aurelius. Obviously people know him from Harry Potter's.
He's another one, though, that is... he's been in historical epics before. He was in depicting English history, Cromwell.
The late, great Richard Harris.
Irishman.
100%.
He were in Cromwell, which is a big historical
Do you know what film I like him in, right? And he's in a film with Roger Moore, and it's called The Wild Geese.
Oh, I've never seen
it. And it's a proper cheesy waffle. It's like, as soon as I said it, you're smiling because you know of it, but you've not seen it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll probably look into it. I quite like that. I like that.
I've got it on
Blu-ray.
Mate, I'll borrow it. It's fucking cool.
Yeah. I'm into that. I'm into that as an idea.
And fucking Roger Moore and a couple of other heads get together and go to like Africa to save a village and shit.
Oh, I'm into that.
Mate, you love it.
Yeah. Top tips from Christine. Yeah, top tips.
Oh, well, I do own it. I will.
And I'd just like to point out, though, there are hundreds of other supporting characters. Literally a cast of thousands. We're not going to go through them.
No, I can't be bothered.
But they're going to say, oh, well, yeah, just say to us, fucking listenership, we can't be bothered.
No.
No. All right. But yeah, huge cast. Huge cast.
There is loads of like British actors make like they're in a scene here and a scene there.
Well, you can't show the Romans without them all being British, can you?
Well,
classically trained British actors,
stage actors, treading the boards, dear.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's your overview of the film. So come on then.
Right, my thoughts. My first thing that I do want to discuss is how, and I said this to you last week, I noticed straight away that there's a lot more. I think there's two kind of stories that intertwine, and
okay,
I think it's his personal journey to get revenge, but also how the politics of the time has set him on that path, and how there was a lot of. And again, I said to you, it was really interesting because I asked you a few questions about what was that like you. I know you've kind of gone into is it historically accurate and did that really happen? But what about the politics at that time? Is that what was going on? People were like, what's going to happen next?
Well, basically, yes, sort of. Basically,
because I didn't realise how much there was a political storyline to it until I watched it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a very political film. This is a very, very political film
from the outset,
and it's.
But it kind of not heavy hands it, and it kind of maybe loses it the last third of the film. It doesn't concentrate on that as much.
Well, my immediate thought of it with the plotting of this is that I'm not picking on the pacing, because we normally pick on pacings of the film. I've no problem with the pacing.
The pacing's okay.
How it's paced, I think it warrants.
And that's even the extended version. I think
it warrants its 2.5 hours to 3 hours run.
Okay,
it's not one
doesn't
of those.
Drag.
Yeah, I think if this went for our ideal hour and a half, it would do a disservice to the story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah,
no. Do you know what I mean?
You can't do it.
It don't work. You can't. I mean, no one's asking you to go back to the 60s doing Antony and Cleopatra and it's literally fucking and all that. An intermission. No, fuck off. But I think at the end they have focused on the political side of it. So at the end, it's almost like we've got to wrap up stories now. In terms of it drops that and for the last third. I think, but. That's kind of the thing that I like about it. I like how political it is, because the Roman Empire.
I just find it an interesting thing revisiting it to pick up on.
The Roman Empire is an incredibly politically engaged society, mostly for elite Romans. If you're a poor Roman citizen anywhere in the empire, or not even a citizen, a freeman or a slave or whatever, you won't have much day-to-day involvement. But for the elites, and we only really know about the elites, generally poor people don't leave us any much in terms of written evidence. You know what I mean? We know what the senators thought at the time, because we have the documents written by a Roman senator at the time.
But we didn't find like Anne Frank bloody diary and
but we have no idea what fucking
day-to-day life was
Decimus
like.
Who lived on
number 24 in a mud hut.
No one knows. But it is a very political film, because we are at a point in Roman history where there is somewhat of a concern as to what comes next, like who comes next. Marcus Aurelius,
there's a lot of show conversations with other like senators and shit.
Marcus and his dynasty, what's known as the Antonine dynasty, had been on the throne for quite a long time now, basically for over 100 years. No, not the bloodline, because here's the historical thing. Commodus is the only one who is the direct child of the previous emperor. The previous ones, they'd always been adopted into the family. Basically, that had become the new normal, that the previous emperor would adopt someone who they wanted to become emperor after them. Marcus was adopted by his adoptive father, Antoninus Pius, who was in turn, he'd been adopted by Hadrian, who'd been adopted by Trajan. Allegedly, he might not have been, but he pretended at the time he was.
So politics at that time was
it was very fluid, and that's why I think they make that choice to try and make out that Marcus didn't want Commodus to be emperor, even though he absolutely emphatically did. All the evidence shows that Marcus wanted Commodus to be emperor after him. In a way, they'd sort of that caused a bit of a frisson, because that caused a bit of a political upset, because it was like, hey, why haven't you picked someone else, someone a bit more worthy, rather than just your son who's only bothered in like gladiatorial games and stuff like that. So it's almost
I think that
it's almost like Marcus was trying to set up a dynasty as we would understand a dynasty, as in a bloodline, rather than an adoptive dynasty. Do you understand what I'm trying to say there? So that causes a bit of political.
Because it's like, whoa, hang on a minute, that's not what we do.
And I think this film sort of captures that. You can tell the rest of the other senators,
it sets off the
particularly Senator Gracchus, Derek Jacobi's part. You can tell he's very put out by the fact that he has to deal with this young man, Commodus, who he doesn't particularly respect,
because he knows that he's not got the fucking balls, he's not got the brains, he's not got the nous to lead.
Yeah,
and he's only interested in his own pleasures. Like powers drove him mad. Clearly throughout the film, it gets worse as the film goes on.
And that's the thing.
So that's to lose it.
One thing that I really like, but it's not necessarily. It shows Commodus's descent into madness. That he is going absolutely power mad. I
was literally just about to do that.
Yeah, sorry. I just had to put light on, guys, because we just sat here and gathered gloom.
Yeah, and I can't see my notes anymore.
So, yeah, it captures that descent into madness. Now, Commodus historically isn't... He don't come across to me as a madman. He comes across to me historically as a petulant child. It's like, I want. And he does throw these enormous great games, although it pretends that Marcus Aurelius didn't want to throw these games previously. Again, no evidence of that. But it's trying to show that Commodus is spending lavish amounts of money on these vast games to try and win over the populace, because that's how...
Right, okay, so following on from that then, let's talk about the scale of the film. Let's move on to that for a little bit.
Okay. Go ahead then.
Again, $100 million. Why did it cost... obviously you're saying at the beginning it cost a lot and they threw it all on the screen. And I remember at the time when it came out, there was a note about the CGI in it. It's very complimentary. It's not in your face.
Yeah,
and
it's not in your face.
And even now, it's fine. The CG's fine.
I think, holds up.
Yeah,
holds up.
It's fine because it's very subtle.
Well, they literally built. The Colosseum. That it's a half.
Yeah.
They half built the Colosseum.
Yeah. I remember that in the papers at the time.
Yeah, this huge set that they half built for the thing, and you can tell those scenes in the amphitheatre in the Colosseum are just breathtaking, realistically in scale, absolutely enormous.
Yeah.
In scale.
Yeah.
For a film, and it's there. You can see it's real. You can see it's not. Yeah.
I think it was probably one of them films where it was at a period where there was a transition where there was less and less.
Yeah.
There was practical.
Well, yeah, I know, but this I found to be a very practical, effective film, and the costumes, right? No, I'm not going to go on about whether they're accurate or not, because it's a fool's game with these things.
Yeah.
You just can't, right? But all of it's there. You can tell that they've spent a vast amount of money on this world building. Again, it's not necessarily the actual Roman world, but it's his
they
world
are aiming
building.
for it. They're aiming for it, and I think Ridley Scott they picked him because he was when he was at the height of his game, he was known as building worlds. He wanted to. Instead of having two people talking in a room, he went, I want to look out the window, what's out there? Let me convince you that this is a world.
And there are a lot of shots of people standing in front of windows.
For me, he's trying to evoke, again, an historical epic. Does he? I think it's not that... It doesn't hit them heights for me.
I mean,
but I appreciate that's what they're aiming for, and
it's of a huge scale.
Yeah, it is.
It is of an absolutely
and it was a big film,
scale.
even it went at the time.
Oh yeah.
In terms of a lot of people seeing it, making a lot of money, and people in being public consciousness.
I mean, obviously, I was only 10
it.
at the time.
I left school.
Well, yeah, I know, but like, you're that ancient, aren't you? You were there.
I was, yeah. Yeah, I'm in the background.
But I remember thinking at the time, as a youth, wow, look at it, it's enormous.
Yeah,
and there's actual gladiatorial games going off, like that first really big one in the actual Colosseum, not the Are You Entertained little Colosseum, in the big Colosseum where they have the chariot battle.
Good
really
thing,
good
sequence.
thing. I remember thinking, because that's a really good character moment for Maximus, because he's a general. He knows that you keep your formation. Here's his formation. Don't break it. Do not break it until I say break it now.
The chariot's good.
Yeah, really good. And I like how the film's structured. It's almost like it's pushed forward each time by a new set of gladiatorial games. So they have that big chariot, big battle, and then they have that one-on-one battle with like the guy who was dressed in basically a full suit of armour. I don't know why he would be dressed in a full suit of armour, but fine. With the tigers and all that, that's cool. Oh, and I don't know whether you've noticed, but at the beginning of this film, they can't put no animals were harmed at the thing, because Tiger was harmed.
Really?
By accident.
Well.
There was an accident.
There's other tigers.
There really aren't. That many, you know what I mean? But yes, a tiger
How was it harmed, you know?
I can't remember now.
Oh, but it was.
A tiger was injured.
Oh shit!
During production. So, I mean, whoopsie daisy.
Maybe about 20 mil of that fucking budget went on sorting that out in court.
The WWF were probably there, like...
The wrestlers?
Yeah, no, to the one.
With the panda?
Yeah, the panda. We're probably like, well, you can pay out to some fucking animal charity now. And I'm not saying if anyone knows...
Until the end of time.
Yeah. But anyway, that's it. That's just a side note. But yeah, it's almost like you've got the political stuff, the descent into madness of Commodus, and then it's the plot's then pushed forward. Oh, here's my new plan. What I'm going to do is trying to get him to fight this big fuck off brick shithouse gladiator, and he'll kill him. Nope, he doesn't. I mean, really, it's a stupid plan for Commodus, because what he's noticed is that Maximus is becoming more popular than him, and he's won over the crowd, as they keep saying in the fucking film.
They do hammer that a little bit.
Win the crowd. Well, it's the central thesis of the film, really. So they're going to hammer it, aren't they? But win the crowd, and it's sort of like slowly flipping. Commodus is losing the crowd, whereas Maximus is gaining the crowd.
He's a hero for the people.
Do you know, I could fix all of Commodus's problems in this. Just don't schedule him for any more fights.
Just lock him up.
Just don't schedule him for any more fights.
Don't feed him and just lock him up.
They'll forget about him, and then just get someone to fucking do him in later.
Or just snidely do it.
Yeah, sorted Commodus. Well, he does try and do it snidely himself, doesn't he? At the end, stabs him.
Yeah, but that's when he actually does kill him.
Yeah. But anyway, I just want to talk about Joaquin Phoenix for a moment, because I really like it. I really like it. It's a touch hammy. It's a touch hammy.
And I think maybe for me, he's learnt to be an actor, a better actor.
Maybe, but I've absolutely no problem with this.
And I'm surprised the nomination as well.
No, I think you're absolutely wrong.
Okay.
He does really well in this. I would have preferred him to win the Oscar rather than Russell Crowe. I think Russell Crowe's very serviceable in it. He's very good in it, in fact. I'd say more than serviceable. But which of the two, outside of their meme ability, is more memorable, I think, probably Commodus, as in Joaquin Phoenix in this. He's.
I disagree.
Yeah, well, you're also wrong, but
okay.
But yeah, I mean, he's up there in like most iconic. Like he usually makes the list of most iconic villains. Does Commodus?
I don't see it, mate. I really don't see it.
Well, why? What don't you see?
I know. I'm not. I'm just. Didn't,
well, why?
Because I've just said because I just don't.
Well, okay, but if we can't give a reason, then that's not a reason.
Well, it's my fucking opinion.
Yeah, fine.
No, I don't know. I think
okay.
I think he's trying to be. I think he's from scene to scene inconsistent.
Well, yeah, I know, but I think his character's supposed to be
No, but I know that's his descent into madness, which I do notice that's the character. I do. But I'm not. I just don't. I think Joaquin Phoenix has learned to be a better actor.
I mean, I'm quite.
And I'm just not a fan of that character or the actor in that role.
I'm quite willing to say that he has improved as an actor. I mean,
is that an answer? Is that a reason?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Fine.
Good.
Yeah, I will accept that one.
Okay, mate. Oh, thank you.
But
Luke
in Joker,
giant character in it.
Well, it's a necessary character. I don't think she necessarily plays it brilliantly, right? Because it's the thing that I noticed about the film.
I said wishy-washy is the only thing I can think of to describe. I don't
really think she's wishy-washy in it. I think she's a little bit. She's taken a little bit too literally direction she's got off Ridley Scott. What do I mean by this? You can tell Ridley Scott had the vision of, in his mind's eye, of a bit like an historical epic from the 60s and 70s. Right, and earlier from the 50s, 60s and 70s. And you can tell because a lot of them act like that. Very big, very dramatic, very... Also very classically trained English actor at the time.
I get what you mean, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it has this big epic tone, which is at times a little bit melodramatic. Like, so for instance, the iconic scene of
so you're touching upon it now.
I'm Maximus Decimus Meridius,
blah, blah, blah.
and the score swells a little bit, and I will have my vengeance.
I bet right? Again, that great score.
Yeah, okay, let's just come on to. Let me finish this point, and then we'll do the score. But she occasionally she's being told do it like a Sophia Loren in the Fall of the Roman Empire,
like staring into the distance
and like
wondering.
What's her name who played Cleopatra?
Liz Taylor.
Do it like that with an epic tone, and you can tell with her final speech of "He was a soldier of Rome, honour him." So, and I think she doesn't meet it. She doesn't quite meet. He's telling her to do it like that, and she can't. Yeah. She can't quite get it. She hasn't quite got the epic tone.
We've got it. We'll move on.
I don't mind her. I can see what you mean. And I also think, because, just to bring it in again, I'm sorry, a little bit of history, because her character is a mishmash of quite a number of people in his life.
Is that the character?
It's going to be a little bit scattershot because she kind of has to sort of play the part of... If that's the justification
we're going with...
I think if there is a justification, her character's always going to be a little bit scattershot because she's playing the part of what in real life was played by 3 or 4 people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who all had different personalities and different motivations. So yeah, it's not great. I think it's good, but it's not great.
So right, just keeping on the theme of character, right? So I just want to say, right, Maximus, for me, the way that the character's written, I think very, very good. They try to make you understand that he's proud, he's loyal, he's strong, and he's probably because he knows his wife and child and he wants to go and see him, he's almost, and at the end he's like, I'm just tired of it now.
Yeah,
I'm tired of it now.
Yeah.
I think a really good character, you know, he gets the best fucking lines, unleash hell.
I think
all of his lines are memes, aren't they? Now, you know?
They are all mean. So, on my command, unleash hell.
You know, what we do in life will echo in eternity. You know, all these big lines like, wow, okay, I know you're trying to be a big fucking
But that's what I mean about the epic tone. Though.
It's trying.
I tell you what, it's a bit like, it's like a Shakespeare play. In its way. And do you know why you got two of Shakespeare's most famous plays are Julius Caesar and Antony and Cleopatra, right? I'm not saying that's what he was definitely trying to do, but it's not there, guys. It's 100%. not there.
100%. 100%. But yeah, I mean, you know, like, again, you're not entertained and he's respected and trusted as well. It gives that he's a loyal man. He's a good man.
Yeah, and he's clearly a very
he's been shit on, basically. Yeah, there you go.
He's clearly a very competent general as well.
You see that at the beginning, like you say, when they're in Germany, basically.
Yeah.
But good. Again, he's really good in it, and you can see why they've got the Oscar. I mean, he's not chewing the scenery or blowing anything away.
From what I said before, I weren't trying to say that he didn't deserve his Oscar.
No, you're not. But I totally get what you mean.
He's banging in it.
He's good in it, but people have won Oscars for better. That's what. Yeah, you were in that fucking pool.
But for the part that he has to play, because Russell Crowe in this thing is more your sort of almost archetypal hero. He is an almost flawless man in this. If I had to nitpick, and it is a nitpick, he is almost flawless man. His only flaw essentially is that he trusted people when he shouldn't have trusted them.
And he's got him in the way. He's got him
in this situation. And I suppose another flaw would be that he's after vengeance. But wouldn't you be?
Well, yeah, that's
like,
revenge,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
And he gets it at the end, but it cost him his life, and there you go, and he's going to see his fucking wife and child.
You know,
But again, you know, score's brilliant.
Oh, mate,
Pace is decent.
We've just got to spend a few quick moments talking about the score. Like, he just fits it. He just fits it so well. I could listen to that score now,
and you still hear those themes from that score in shit today.
Oh, you know they are kind of lady. She's in every historical film.
It's like an Enya, isn't it? It's like an Enya. It's like an Enya for now.
Every single one for years after it.
It's always
this.
But no, the pace is decent. The cinematography is decent. The script is decent.
I think the script is really good, actually.
It's just
what's written. Ridley Scott and the writers knew what they could get away with in terms of melodrama.
Yeah,
and it's just right. It's just on the money.
I totally agree.
It's just right.
On that note, give us your final thoughts, man.
Right, final thoughts. I was worried about talking about this film because obviously I know a lot more than I did at 10 years old about this particular period, and it's a period that I'm very interested in. So if I was looking at my younger self would be like 10 out of 10 greatest film ever made, love it, love it.
Okay.
Nowadays I could nitpick it to death.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of little things where you just think, oh, okay, bit cliche now, but it wasn't necessarily a cliche then. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. A very well-deserved 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I would think. Enjoyable film that you can watch now and holds up, and pretty much everyone, I think, would have enjoyed themselves.
Okay, 8, you're giving it an 8 out of 10. Right, okay, so my thoughts are, first of all, watching it again for the show, I, at the time, absolutely loved it. And I think, I don't know, again, maybe it's because I've not watched it in 20 years, and I didn't love it as much. I know I don't love it as much as I did at the time.
Well, I don't, like I was saying.
I'm the same, and I think there's a couple of things for me. I think it's trying to be, and like you're saying, it's just at that tipping point of, it could have gone through the roof in terms of being more historically accurate and having...
I think the things that they changed, it would have actually be better to have actually done what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I haven't got time to tell you.
Film.
And I haven't got time to tell you what happened. But very often, the truth is usually somewhat more interesting than what a bunch of writers can make up. And I think it kind of hurts it, because Ridley Scott says he wants to make a very accurate film, and he hasn't, because he built it like that. No one else built it, and he hasn't really done that.
So I think I'm not. This is going to sound like I'm really being harsh, but I watched it again, and I don't know if it's because I watched like the extended version, nearly 3 hours, and I was like, well, I don't recall. Is that extended and what was in the theatrical? So I'm going to give it, and I enjoyed it. It was all right, but I probably would have given it an 8 20 years ago.
Okay.
I think it's a really good film. I'd recommend it, but now I'm giving it a 7.
Okay.
And I can see where it won Oscars and stuff. Obviously, I can see that, but I'm just my own personal opinion. I don't really love it.
Being harsh, I don't think you're being harsh. You're being a touch disgruntled, but you're allowed to be a touch disgruntled about it. Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So that's the end of this show and the end of this season. This is the end of season 2, guys.
We've got a number of plans.
For season 3, no, we've got loads of stuff up our sleeves, guys. So thanks for the support. Keep coming back.
That's going to make you go, oh, really?
Really interesting stuff in the pipeline, guys. Please join us. And again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening as usual. We absolutely love the support, and we'll see you in a short while.
In a bit, Skip.
In a bit. Bye.
Bye.